And now we're going to look at some examples we found of how different places have used icons to present information or engage with data beyond their spreadsheet. Over the years, we've found some great uses of icons and graphics in everyday life. Here we have a poster from a grocery store. Actually, I think Julie said she found this at Target, yes?
It's at Target, yeah.
It's Target, yeah. And that they used to characterize food and produce so that it's easy to spot features that shoppers may be looking for right at a glance. I love the simplicity of each icon, the colors. I personally am somewhat attracted to color. And that even if I hadn't seen the sign, I would still benefit from this information. As I shopped through the store, this would be a value add to the shopping experience. Here we have a bright and colorful representation of the hero's journey. If anyone remembers the PBS special with Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell, or for those of us who grew up on Star Wars, have children, or perhaps have been watching just a few movies since we've been home these past few months, you might recognize this process. The hero's journey is the mythic story structure that Campbell suggests reoccurs throughout world cultures. Quite frankly, I am actually very good at recognizing story structure, but I'm horrible at remembering the names of the individual steps that as you move through the entire cycle of the hero's journey. I'm just hoping that perhaps having it represented in a lovely and colorful graphic will help me from now on. And looking at this, I can see ways to use the icons to map out and diagram structures of books and movies as a wonderful teaching tool. Now, I do watch a lot of PBS, but I promise I didn't intend for there to be a theme. I found this on Instagram on the PBS site a few years ago, and I love that it uses the frames structure of the Instagram platform, but then it also plays on a bingo theme by using the free square in the middle. The use of their bold and primary colors is very much in line with a PBS persona, which relates so much of their programming towards parents and children. And because they use this on social media, they were careful to ensure that it was easy to read on mobile devices. Now, the story that PBS is telling here is not new. They are answering questions, or in some cases here, accusations that are often made against them. Public broadcasting costs too much. No one watches it. There's no value. They've taken the questions that they know people have, they've used the research, the surveys they've done, and then they've provided this information visually. I've read the data in articles, I've read the surveys, I remember the episode of The West Wing about PBS, but here they've used the power of our brain so that we can retain this information visually, and we are more likely to perhaps even act on it. I just love it. It's beautiful. I also found this one on Instagram. Instagram is meant as a visual platform, and I think that's why we see a lot of these on Instagram too. But it was also used in the organization's electronic newsletter. This graphic has similar attributes to other narrative budget examples we've shown in presentations, but I would suggest it's a good example of a visual budget. The graphics and icons here are used to help tell the story. The graphics clearly represent their organizational areas, the barn, the children, the youth leaders, and the horses. The graphics also draw our eye through the content, and they help give the numbers definition and context. So they move the numbers off the grid of the spreadsheet, and they help us learn how the lives of children are changed by riding these 8 horses. I'm going to apologize for how out of focus this picture is, but I caught it on my camera at a conference, and I didn't get a chance to take another picture before the presentation moved on. But I hope you can see that these individual icons punctuate the data from a section of a chart, which is that yellow portion at the bottom of the screen. What CPG did was take the information that they really wanted us to know, to remember, and they presented it with a graphic, a very colorful graphic. As the presenter read the report and we saw this slide, our brains began creating meaning and meaning attached to the data. It happened in milliseconds, and we did it without thinking. And you can do this with visuals too. It also helped me that they chose to actually use our diocesan shield up here in the upper left to signify their 60 diocesan visits they made in getting the word out. Of course, while we would never use that shade of blue, we always use purple and white or blue, black and white. It was great to see it in their presentation.